Welcome everyone to our Facebook live show, Life Buildup, where we talk about your success, fulfillment, and balance. I'm your host, Zawad. I'm here with Hasan. We have a very exciting episode for you today. We're talking about don't wait for happiness. Find happiness now. But before that, I'm just going to share the show a little bit. And then in the meantime...
First of all, we want to send our prayers and condolence to the families of the horrible mass shooting attack in Las Vegas. We pray for the victims and we pray for the families. And today we are talking about don't wait for happiness to come. And some of you, if you watch my videos on Instagram, I put up a story and I talked about how a lot of us, we are looking for happiness. We're all looking to be happy at the end of the day.
Right.
It's a one human factor. We all want it. We are working, we want power, whatever it is. At the end of the day, one of the big motivation for power, money, job, relationship is that you want to be happy.
Every single person right now, we're looking for one way to get happy. And I think the definition for that is different ways. One way is through money, through power, through we think that once we get somewhere, we're gonna be happy.
Yeah. So we wait for happiness to come, as if it's something that will arrive once we achieve certain things, once certain things happen in our lives. And so today we're talking about don't wait for happiness to come. Find happiness in the now. So I guess as people are joining in, and if some of you are new here to our show, it's a show that we have once a week, every Monday night, 10 p.m. And this is a show where it's not a show about us, giving you some motivational bluff or telling you some BS stories or telling about how amazing we are in our careers, businesses, and life, and you should be like us. This is a show where we tackle some of the difficult things that we go through and some opportunities, some tools and techniques and hacks and things we have learned along the way and things you can share in how to improve our businesses, our careers, our relationships.
Yeah, we're not gurus or perfect or anything like that.
We're definitely not personal development gurus or anything of that nature. This is a show that's a journey together.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's jump right into the topic. But right before that, I see some of you guys already are watching it live. If you could do me a favor and please like this live broadcast and also share it with your friends. I really, really appreciate it.
It really, so if you're watching this right now and you're hearing my voice, then what we request is that you just click that share button, and so that Facebook will share it. And it will get more audience, and so more people can benefit. So as people are joining in slowly, just hit that share button, press that like, and let everyone, your friends, and everyone know on your Facebook page.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's get right into the episode.
Sure. Yeah.
So how do we become happy now and not wait for it?
Right. The first thing is that we do this, right? So we all wait for happiness, and the amazing thing is that there's no place you will get to in your life that will make you happy. We are hardwired. The study shows that 50% of our happiness actually is your genetics, meaning some people are hardwired to be more happy, and some people are hardwired to be just down and mellow.
So just chemicals inside your head?
Yeah, it's 50%.
Isn't this hocus pocus?
No, it's not hocus pocus. No, it's actually well studied. By some researchers that 50% of your happiness are genetics, meaning some people are just more down and mellow, and some people are just excited in life.
Right.
50%. And then 10% is your circumstance. So the job you're gonna get, relationship you're in, you might think those job, relationship, business doing well, you might think that's the biggest factor in being happy. That's actually 10%. 10%. So what's the other 40%? And you should show the other 40% of your happiness is actually your day-to-day action. So how you perceive things, how you when things happen to you, good things or bad things, how you perceive them, what they mean to you,
right.
And then things you do. Are you doing things that benefits other people? Are you doing things that, and we'll get into this, and are you doing things to give back? Those are the things that defines and brings the happiness inside you.
I think so. On the episode, right? If I was to take someone's life, or if I was to take my life,
right?
Right now, I'm pursuing different business ideas.
Yes.
I have a goal as far as how much income that I'll have within the next, 3 months, 6 months, and so forth.
Right.
So how do I not wait for that and become happy now?
Right. So see, first thing what to realize is happiness is an emotion. So it's not a some kind of a prize that you get. Like it's like nothing going to happen. Say whatever you make in your business now. In the next 2 years, say you make double, the revenue that you make in your business in a 6 month, right? You're not gonna get a new chemical that will come delivered to your house that you put inside your brain. All of a sudden, you're more happy. That's not how it works. I mean,
so right now, I feel happiness. I think it's just a matter of like how do I increase that?
Right.
So right now, let's say I feel happy
right.
throughout my week.
Right.
30% of the time.
Right.
Okay,
right,
where I'm
yeah.
feeling the emotion happiness.
Right.
But how do I increase that?
So feeling happiness and sadness is totally normal, right? That's emotion, right? So I think the first thing we have to realize is happiness and sadness is emotion. So what I tell people is that, okay, when you do get that job, is that job going to give you a new set of chemicals in your brain? Already, what you need to be happy is already inside you. It's already here. Like nothing going to change externally. No one has a key. The job doesn't give you a key for happiness afterwards. It's literally a feeling that you already have. Now, of course, certain level of if somebody doesn't have food, somebody doesn't have shelter, somebody is afraid for their life. Of course, you're gonna have a lot of anxiety. You're gonna have a lot of sadness. But once you pass the threshold of normal level of whatever we need, after that is really happiness is your perception.
So it's just like you're dreaming. I think a lot of people are daydreaming that this is how I'm going to feel.
Right.
Once I get
to
right?
yeah.
So
they wait for happiness. That's the whole point of the title. That people wait for okay, when I get to that school, then I will allow myself to be happy.
Right.
So they made this rule in their life that I have to get to this place for me to be happy.
But wouldn't you say that if people were to accomplish getting inside a school or
Right.
getting a job
Right.
or get a certain level in their business,
Right.
they would be happy?
What does that mean though? What does it mean?
That means that I would have enough money,
Right.
and I would be able to buy the house that I want, the car that I want.
Those cars, do they give you extra chemicals, extra dopamine that you inject?
Yeah, absolutely, they do.
They give you extra dopamine.
Well, they give me more dopamine than I'm used to experiencing now.
Right. So it's what you have, determined. You said, look, when I get to the house, that means it's a good thing.
Right.
You can't consume more oxygen or more food.
I think a good example to bring this up would be people who already have it.
Right. Yeah.
I think if I was for example, let's say somebody who's already made it, they're extremely wealthy in their business, and they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars every month, not just a year. Like they're a multimillionaire.
Right.
Okay. And when they're at that point, if you're to ask them, how would you rate your level of happiness?
Right.
1 being your life is miserable,
right.
and 10 being you're extremely happy. Your life is just great.
Right.
How many people do you think would say?
There's actually a study that was done.
Oh, really?
In Chicago, in Illinois. Researchers, they studied people who won the lottery, right? And so they studied these people who won $1 million jackpots. And
$1 million as in you're talking about not just $1 million.
No,
these are
millions.
Hundreds.
120 million. Some of these jackpots are huge.
Yeah.
So they studied these people who won $120 million, whatever the case might be.
You'll be set for life at that point,
yeah, you
right?
think. I mean, about 40% goes on tax, and then another. So you don't get all.
No, even after that, you'll be set for life.
Of course,
and you should, and hypothetically speaking, if we're talking about money as if I get to that certain level and I become happy, that means they should be happy for the rest of their life.
That's the jackpot. I mean, you won overnight that much amount of money.
Right.
So they studied these people, and then they took another group as a two-side comparison, normal, just average, random people in Chicago, in Illinois, and what they did was they studied these people and they asked the question, how happy are you now? Right. Once the whole excitement about having a lot of money went down, first when you won the jackpot, you were off the roof, right? But let that simmer down after a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Okay. And then they also asked, how happy do you think you will be in the future? They found that there wasn't any significant difference in how happy they were at the moment. Because you see, look, we all have certain capability for happiness. There's only certain amount of happy you could be.
So so before you continue, for the people that won the jackpot,
right?
So after 2 weeks,
or 3 weeks, 1 month, whatever.
So they were asked the question, how happy are you now?
Yeah.
And the people that didn't win the jackpot, they were asked the same question.
Right.
There wasn't a significant
difference. And the percentage was the same. So
why do you think that is?
So because, look, you could be happy 1 through 10, right? So you could only be so much happy. So the best example I could give is like I work with a person who earns $500,000 a year. I work with another person. This is a real life story. I work with another person who earns $20,000 a year. This person that earns $20,000 a year in a consumer therapy, he struggles to buy his Metro card. Like Metro card that you go to the subway station. He struggles with that. And then then my other person that that I work with, he's earning $500,000. But when I found and took their level of stress that they have, right? So this person is stressed about his Metro card. This person is stressed about his business not doing same as it didn't meet the quarterly mark.
Right.
The level of stress is exactly, if I squeeze the level of stress, is exactly the same.
Right.
The same happiness this person.
So you have a person with $20,000 a year income.
Right.
And you have a person he's making $500,000.
Right.
Is that his income?
That's his yearly revenue.
That's his yearly income.
Right.
Okay. So and you're saying that the stress level is the same.
On opposite, and more importantly, the happiness level is the same. So when he gets in his Beamer, and when he the person who would want to have a Toyota because he earned 20,000, struggles in the subway, going to the public transportation, he would have the same amount of happiness if I just had a car. I'll be so excited, so happy. So he gets the same happiness when he steps into a brand new apartment that he can own himself, doesn't have to be in the project. He's as happy. Because
I think this goes back to the point that you made in the earlier in our broadcast is that happiness is not a prize that you win.
Right, it's not a prize you win.
It's not like once you have it, that's like okay, now I have it.
It's not like a thing.
Like now I possess it.
It's a state of being.
Yeah, it's a state of being. Yeah. So at one moment you could be happy, another moment you could be sad.
Just like anger.
Just like anger. Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that's very important, to realize that, there is never going to be a point in your life. Again, listen to what I'm saying. There's never going to be a point in your life where you're gonna say that I reached happiness.
Right.
And I'm going to be constantly happy. That's never going to happen.
Because a psychologist, I think, they say it's about habituation. So once you experience the happiness, after a while it goes down. Like imagine you ate something really tasty. If you ate that. You get
used to it.
You get used to it.
If you eat it 50, 60 times in a row.
You overload on it. After that, it doesn't taste so good. Because look, you can only be happy 1 through 10, right? So every time you get something bigger, your calibration goes down. Best would explain this. Like in audio sound studios, if you speak too loud, they calibrate the sound so it goes more down. Meaning as you speak louder, the max capacity goes down, right? So in simple words, you're gonna get used to that crap. That's what it is.
Okay.
So the same amount of feeling you had when you got on your Toyota Camry, and after a while being in your Beamer, you're gonna feel like this is just the same. The feeling's gonna go away.
Right.
It's gonna recalibrate. Now you need something better. So human beings are not actually looking for a end destination. Happiness is not an end destination. Happiness is a process. Happiness is not an end destination. It's a process. It's a state of being. It's continuous.
Yeah, that makes sense. And those of you guys who are just joining us, if you could, right now we're talking, just recap what we're talking about real quick.
So in this episode tonight, we're talking about don't wait for happiness to come, because if you keep waiting, you'll always be waiting.
Yeah.
There's always be a next. There always will be a next. I mean, there will not be a point in your life you're gonna get to and say, you know what, I think I'm at a good place.
You're always going to be, once you reach your accomplishment, you're always going to look for the next thing.
The money, the annual income, the house.
I was telling you that, people who already have all the money, they're not concerned about money anymore.
Yeah.
They're like, you know what, I'm okay with my money.
Right.
At that point, they get concerned with something else.
Right. Yeah.
Like, for example, they're concerned about, okay, what do community members say about me?
Right.
Is my name up there?
Yeah.
Is my
status,
status,
and power. Yeah.
Is that coming in there?
And you know what? That's a good segue into how then do you find happiness then? And how do we? The title of the show tonight. How do you find happiness in the now? So happiness essentially has to be something that you're continuously experiencing.
Yeah.
No doubt, if you're going through something really big in your life, you're going through a hard time. No doubt. If you're having a hard time getting food on your plate, of course, those are difficult. But once you read, you have food on your table, you have a roof over your head, you're doing okay in life. After that, happiness is essentially, your mindset. Really what it is. So then why would you want to achieve? Because you want to achieve because of progress. Happiness comes from, number one, continuous progress. So you want to feel like my relationship, my job, my business, my body is continuously growing, getting better. That's one of the places that happiness comes from. You know, so yeah.
So you know, we spoke about a lot of things regarding happiness.
Right.
So you said that one of the places that happiness comes from is you feeling that you're making progress
Right.
in the different areas of your lives.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so are you progressing in your finances?
Right.
Are you progressing in your? And I'm guessing you'd have to have goals.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
in those areas.
Yeah.
In order to progress.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, it will not be that you achieve something and then you'll just be happy.
Right.
You'll never be that way.
Right.
You'll never get there. There's always be a next. You know,
Right.
the example that that I always give is like, you know, you're young, and you know you're a teenager. You're like, you know, as soon as I can get out of my mom's house, you know, and I'll be so happy, and I could be on my own. I could experience life. Then you go to college, you're like, oh man, you know, college is fun and all, I'm having the blast, but you know, these classes are hard. As soon as I graduate, I'm tired of classes. Then you graduate, then like, you know what, I graduated, but as soon as I can get a job, as soon as I get the job market is hard. I'm applying for 20 places. You get a job. Then like, you know what, as soon as I find a love of my life, then you find love of my life. You're like, you know, as soon as I can have family, you know, I get married. I need to do that.
Yeah.
Then you're like, you know what, but we're married and we're having a beautiful time, but I would love to have children. And you have children. You're like, you know what, my child is 2 years old, you know, trouble twos. As soon as they become, you know, a little older, and you go, and then you know, you're like, oh, but they're troubled teenagers, and you know, maybe as soon as they get to college, they could be on their own. I could just relax. Me and my husband, we could just go back to our old times, and they do that. They're like, but
I think the kids are going through like the same things that parents went
and
through.
I want to be a grandparent. That's when I'll be happy,
Yeah.
and you will never find happiness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Happiness is just not going to come. Because it's not a thing, it's a process. So number one is really, you're gonna find happiness in your progress. You know, and bigger than that, finding happiness in the now. Number two is you have to appreciate what you do have right now, and especially incidents like, you know, the mass shooting in Las Vegas, and remind us, you know, about how important, you know, our life is, right? To have our own life. The fact that you can breathe, the fact that you can get up tomorrow in the morning. The fact that you have an opportunity to do something tomorrow with your life, the fact that you can experience life, experience this beautiful thing that we have in life, the beauty, the blessing, that you start to realize. You know, when I remember, I don't know if you remember when we had in New York City, where we are, we had this whole big blackout. I don't know if you remember, a while back.
I'm not sure.
Okay,
I think I remember.
So there was a big blackout, and we lost power for like, you know, I don't know, for a few days. And those days you appreciated some small stuff like cold water, hot water, like carpet in the room, lights. I mean,
it's like you don't realize the blessing that you have until it's gone. So.
Yeah.
You know, so I think we all heard this concept, like, you have to be grateful.
That's true.
You know, but
what does that mean?
What does that mean actually?
Right, that's true. You know, there was a study done where they had people talk about 3 groups, right? One group, they wrote down what they were happy about, you know, yesterday. Just every day they would write down a little bit about what they're happy about, what went right in their life, you know. Small things like, you know, open the door, somebody, you know, offered me a coffee. The other group write down what went wrong, right? And the third group just wrote down just normal, whatever, day to day. And they found that the group that wrote down even small things, what went right in their life, because of course all of us have crap things that are going on, things that are not going right in our life, issues that we have in our families, issues that we have in our work. We all
Every
have
single
it.
person.
We all have it. Some people more, some people less.
Yeah.
You know, but some people have more capacity to manage that, some people less capacity. And so, you know, and so they studied these 3 groups, and they found that group that were able to look back and say, you know what, there are 1, 2, 3 things that I really, you know, was pretty good. This group, after a few weeks of doing this, they had better health, better mood, and long-term studies they found that these folks had better, you know, heart health, you know, lower cholesterol because they're less stressed. Because you're focused on.
That's profound. Okay, I think what you just said.
Yeah.
I think, you know, while those people were like writing those things down,
right,
they might not have felt happy right away.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but long term, you know, that has an effect.
Yeah.
You know, how you feel and how you go about. Literally how you feel, right?
Yeah.
Happiness is a feeling, you know. So I think that's very profound. So
you know, like if you have, imagine on the screen here. Look, I'm gonna show you. You have a big, you know, imagine like you have a big, you know, paper or something, right? Imagine it's all white, all white paper, right? The whole thing is white.
Right.
And then I put a small black dot in the middle. So imagine all white paper. I put a small dot in the middle, and I ask you, what do you see on the paper? What are you gonna say?
A black dot.
I see black dot. I'm going to say, what about the entire white space around it? You're not focused on the white space. You're just looking at the black dot and you're focused on it. You have so many things that are going right in your life. Honestly speaking, just look in your life. You have things that are going right. if you can focus
So
on those.
I think
yeah.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
You know, your focus.
You focus,
You know,
yeah.
the things that
yeah.
you focus on in your life.
Right.
Those are the things that going to affect how you feel.
That's true.
You know, absolutely.
So practically speaking, what being thankful really means every day in the morning when you get up. I tell people, of the people that I coach, I tell people, look, when you get up in the morning, if you're in a bad mood or things not going right in your life, that's the best time to think about what is going right.
It doesn't have to be in the morning. I think like what you said, like,
Yeah.
anytime you're in a bad mood,
Right.
That's the time to look at, okay,
Yeah.
what are the things that are going right in my
What
life?
what can you be thankful for? Yeah, you have a lot of things that's not going right in your life, right?
Yeah.
But what can you be thankful for? One thing, two thing, three thing, maybe even, and write it down. If you can write those down and focus on it, you will feel the power, the encouragement, the motivation, the optimism to tackle your issue.
And I
Yeah.
think from the previous example that you
Yeah.
gave, you might not feel that right away.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
it could be that like those effects are going to have a long term. Those things are going to have a long term effect. In how you feel. It's not going to be right away. So don't let that take you down.
Right.
No.
Yeah, and you do this like clockwork, like as if you're soul food. Like get up in the morning, write down. These are a few things that I'm thankful for. Just write it down. It's small stuff. Just as you're listening to us, take a moment and just make an inventory in your mind.
Even now.
Make an inventory.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
what are some small things that I'm thankful for? What are
Yeah.
some things that I'm happy about in my life right now? What are some things that I can be happy about in my life right now, if I really wanted to? And you ask yourself this question, you'll be in a whole different mood. And that will get you the energy, the motivation, the courage, optimism to be able to tackle those difficult problems.
Right.
So
Just
yeah.
so we recap. So number one, we spoke about one of the things that you can do in order to be happy now instead of waiting for it is progress.
Progress, yeah.
Right. Okay. And the second thing.
As in your life you're continuously progressing, it will bring happiness in the now.
Right. The second thing you said was gratefulness.
Gratefulness, yeah.
Correct. Okay. So looking at your life
Yeah.
and seeing the things that are going right,
Right.
Instead of looking at the wrong. So focus on the good things that are going good for you.
So the focus.
Yeah.
Shift your focus to the things that you can get energy from.
Right.
They can be thankful from.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Any other steps?
Sure. And then on the biggest thing research have found as far as what brings happiness is giving. Giving is powerful in being able to be happy.
Okay.
If you want to be happy, you have to be a giving person. It just has this empowering and powerful impact. Being able to be a giving person.
Well, so giving what? How does that entail? Does that mean like you have to volunteer somewhere?
Sure.
Is that what it means?
There was research done where they studied people who they asked them to do what they call a small 5 act of kindness. So five acts of small kindness. So these folks, even saying a thank you letter, the thank you email to someone, even holding a door for someone, giving $1 to someone, regardless, what do you think they will use the dollar for? They're begging on the street. That small little deeds, you do that. They found people who do this continuously every day, for week basis. They're at a much better place. They feel more happy. They feel more rejuvenated. We are hardwired to give. Really, we are hardwired to give. That's just part of who we are.
And I think again, just like the other thing, just because you guys don't see the result or feel happy right away after doing these things, don't assume that you won't feel like that later on. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so anything else?
No, I think those 3 steps are powerful steps in being able to find happiness in the now.
Yeah.
So if there's anything you take away from this from our show tonight is our discussion tonight is that if you wait for happiness, you will never get there because you're gonna get used to it. You think there's a destination. You think about it. Just 15 years ago, just 10 years ago, you thought something is gonna make you happy. Maybe some of you got that thing, right? Or that thing actually happened. That issue, or you are already there, and you're still asking yourself, I gotta get to another place now, because that's going to happen. You will never get to a place where you're happy because happiness is not a destination. Happiness is a process. You're just a feeling that you continue to have and inculcate and keep within you. And it's a day-to-day thing. So being able to work on progress in your life, improve, nothing stagnant. Number 2, being able to focus on what is going right in your life, right? There are a lot of things going wrong, but what is going right? And thirdly, having it's doing small acts of charity.
Right, absolutely.
Every day, you know.
Yeah. If you want to be more happy in your life, take these 3 things and make sure you're doing them. Even if you don't see the results and the feeling of happiness right away, it will come. You know.
Right.
The research doesn't lie.
Right, that's
right?
true.
Absolutely.
And you know, small acts of kindness. You know, so if you are, you know, whatever you could do in your capacity.
Yeah. All right, so guys, we'll end it off. Just before we go, though, you guys know this is a live show that we have every Monday at 10 p.m. Right now, it's over at Mohammed's page right here. But we will be moving our live show to our Life Buildup page.
Right.
If you could drop a like on our Life Buildup page, it will be linked within this live broadcast post. I'll really appreciate it.
So we have a separate, you know, official page for the show.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that in the next, you know, few months we can move the show to the official page.
Absolutely.
And of course we have the iTunes.
Yeah, we are on iTunes now. If you want to listen to us on the go, just the audio version.
Yeah.
You can find
And
us on iTunes.
it's much better audio quality.
Yeah.
Not like the live of his Facebook live audio.
It has messes up with live,
Yeah.
the audio a little bit. So just go on iTunes and search Life Buildup, and also I'm going to link it within this live broadcast. You can do that as well. All right?
And you know, feel free to again share the video. And you know, if you have any topic that you think we should talk about, we should cover, please let us know.
Put in the comments,
Put in the
send us
comments,
a
yeah.
private message. I'd love to hear from you. If you have some feedback, we really appreciate
And
it.
if anything that
Yeah.
was in the show that the discussion today that you know that you felt was beneficial to you, we'd love to hear it. Your encouragement and your feedback, you know, keeps us, you know, helps us grow and move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Until next week, we're going to be joining you again Monday night at 10 p.m. next
All right.
week.
Good night.
All right, have a good night.